Houthi landmine explodes in Hodeidah and kills 3 civilians from one family. United States sends seized Iranian weapons meant for the Houthis to Ukraine. On World Teachers' Day, educators in Yemen struggle to survive due to the conflict. Welcome to Yemen Today TV. This is the English news with me, Roshan Fuad. 3 civilians from one family were killed when 2 Houthi mines exploded in the Tuhaita district in Hodeidah. Local sources said that a man, his wife, and their 7-year-old child were killed by the explosion of landmines in the Tuhaita district south of Hodeidah Governorate. Informed sources in the capital Sana'a said that hundreds of celebrators of the 26th September are still in Houthi detention. This comes amid calls made by international humanitarian rights groups on the Houthis to release them. This report has more details.
According to human rights groups, the Houthi group maintained its arrest campaign against Yemenis celebrating the anniversary of the September 26th revolution and detained more than 12 young people on Wednesday at the El Sabin Square. Prior to this, the Houthi group freed detainees who had been imprisoned for hoisting the national flag and taking part in the ceremonies of the September 26th revolution. According to activists and attorneys, Houthi Interior Minister Abdul Karim al-Houthi has ordered the release of 40 young people detained for raising the national flag. The relatives and lawyers of the detainees in Sana'a stated that the detainees had to pay a fine exceeding $400 per person and write a statement denouncing their celebration of the revolution's anniversary to be released. Demands for the release of all 1,500 imprisoned young men in Sana'a persist amid assertions that arrest operations targeting young men suspected of taking part in the festivities have continued. According to sources, the Houthi claims of releasing all detainees are false, since Houthi intelligence elements captured more than 12 young people, including 2 children under the age of 15, last Sunday. According to the statements provided by the families of the detainees, Houthi security agencies have accused their sons of raising the national flag and participating in the celebrations of the September 26th revolution. The families mentioned that some of their members were imprisoned simply for inquiring about the whereabouts of their detained relatives. They highlighted that some young people taken into custody in the Sana'a Police Department remain unidentified since officials refuse to release their information even to inquiring relatives. The families continued their demands for information about their sons' whereabouts and their prompt release, citing the lack of a legal basis for their incarceration.
A security commander was killed and 8 others were injured when one device exploded in Abiyan Governorate. A security source reported that the explosive device targeted a military team in a public road in the city. The U.S. State Department announced that shipments of Iranian arms, which have been confiscated by the U.S. Navy in the Gulf of Oman and the Red Sea, were sent to Ukraine as a military support to Kiev. This report has more details.
The U.S. has sent Ukraine more than 1 million rounds of Iranian ammunition that had been seized last year, according to the U.S. military. U.S. naval forces for years have been seizing weapons believed to be from Iran bound for Iran-backed Houthis in Yemen, usually transported by fishing vessels. U.S. Central Command, which is responsible for military operations in the Middle East, said about 1.1 million rounds were sent to Ukraine. They were originally seized by U.S. naval forces in December 2022 and being transferred from Iran's Revolutionary Guards to Houthi forces in Yemen. The Central Command stated that the U.S. is committed to working with our allies and partners to counter the flow of Iranian lethal aid in the region by all lawful means, including U.S. and UN sanctions and through interdictions. The ammunition is unlikely to make a major difference on the battlefield at a time when long-range weapons and air defense systems are at the top of Ukraine's wish list. The seized ammunition being transferred is also unlikely to ease concerns about the continued flow of Western weapons to Kyiv, according to U.S. analysts. Last year, Britain's Royal Navy said one of its warships had seized Iranian weapons, including surface-to-air missiles and engines for cruise missiles, from smugglers in international waters south of Iran. The Houthis have battled the Saudi-led coalition since 2015 in a conflict that has killed hundreds of thousands and left 80% of the population dependent on aid. The United States has put pressure on the external parties to end the war and linked some U.S. military support to these parties in an attempt to end their involvement in Yemen.
UN Special Envoy to Yemen Hans Gomberg met the Omani Foreign Minister in Muscat. During the meeting, the two sides discussed the situation in Yemen and the efforts exerted to reach a peaceful solution in the country. The Immigration and Passports Authority and The Immigration and Passports Authority in Taiz announced the suspension of work until further notice. The Passports Authority stated that it will suspend work as of this morning, based on the directives of the governor, adding that this came due to short supply of passports. Taiz has one of many important passports offices in which many Yemenis head for obtaining personal passports. World Teachers' Day falls on October 5th. The celebrations for World Teachers' Day kick-started in 1994. The theme for World Teachers' Day 2023 is the teachers we need for the education we want. The global imperative to reverse the teacher shortage. Yet in Yemen, teachers continue to struggle to survive due to the conflict. More on this is in the following report.
Every year on October 5th, World Teachers' Day honors the 1966 UNESCO recommendation concerning the status of teachers, which aims to advance and value all educators worldwide. Since teachers enjoyed a high level of status under the role of former leader Saleh, who granted them a particular privilege, the 5th of October is regarded as one of their happiest days. The teacher has been without a paycheck as a result of the war for 9 years, when the Houthi militia cut it off. Yemeni teachers are suffering from all aspects of bitterness of life. They are not receiving a pay or any kind of support from the authorities.
For years, we have not received salaries from the Ministry of Education or any organization, and we appeal to the authorities to take care of teachers. The world celebrates International Teachers' Day, and we are here in the camp without salaries.
One of many teachers living in the camps for the displaced is Abdul Wasa. His life's work is to fulfill the education needs of the camp's students, who are in desperate need of it. Years went by without receiving a paycheck, with the exception of modest sums received throughout a 9-month period that failed to even cover the necessities of his home for a week. He is burdened by his living circumstances and the high cost of basic necessities due to the loss of his wage, which was previously utilized to support his family.
The teacher has an important value and mission in the world. Unlike Yemen, and especially in Ma'rib, the teacher lives in a state of disrespect due to poverty, hard living conditions, hunger and lack of salaries. For a whole year, the teachers did not receive their salaries and were unable to support their families.
In Yemen, Teachers' Day has mixed with persecution, sadness, and those whose homes were destroyed. They were detained and fired from their professions by the militia, and many of them were displaced. This shows how the Houthis feel strongly about teachers and the educational system. It's attempting to re-establish ignorance among the public through these activities.
We continue with the education in Yemen, where the war has left 2 million children out of schools and thousands are displaced. Displaced students do not have proper education amid infrastructure damage and their humanitarian situation. The following report has more details.
After 7 years of conflict, nearly 3,000 schools have been destroyed or used for non-educational purposes. Meanwhile, 870,000 children have been displaced, some multiple times, which has disrupted their educational process. The continuous influx of displacement towards Ma'rib has exacerbated the need for education services, and most of the functioning schools have become overcrowded and under-resourced.
We typically have 50 to 60 students crammed into one classroom. We don't have enough desks and chairs, and teachers are under enormous strain. Overcrowding makes it difficult for students to retain information or hear over the noise.
School infrastructure is sorely lacking, with fraying tents as the only barrier filtering the scorching sunbeams.
We try to stay patient in these classroom tents amid stifling heat waves, a lack of air conditioning, and severe overcrowding. But with the tents falling apart, there is nothing to protect us. We often have to cut our day short. We can hardly make it till noon because the students are exposed to sunstroke.
Many parents have been compelled to withdraw their children from school due to the inaccessibility of education. The issues that students face in Yemen are exacerbated by the suspension of teachers' wages and the disruption of thousands of government schools that have been demolished or converted into shelters for internally displaced people.
كنا من قبل ندرس في الخيام يعني في المسجد لأن الفصول ما كانت توافر بكثرة.
الفصول يعني قليلة مزدحمة وعدد النازحين يعني كثير كانوا.
لما بنوا المدرسة عمت الفرحة بعض الطلاب وبقى يقدروا يستوعبوا وبقى يقدروا يعني يفهموا درسهم مرتاحين.
وعملت على تماسك المجتمع المضيف مع النازحين وأصبحوا مخرجة التعليم ذات جودة عالية.
تخلصنا من الخيام ومن الدراسة خارج المدرسة، الآن كل الطلاب يدرسوا داخل المدرسة.
والله نفسية الطلاب كانوا مرتاحين لدرجة إنه زاد الإقبال الطلاب على المدرسة إقبال شديد.
يعني المدرسة توسعت، زيد فعلوا فصول جديدة.
Coming next. Counterfeit drugs spread in Houthi-controlled areas, risking thousands of patients' lives. Counterfeit medicine market has spread all over the Houthi-controlled areas. Informed sources in the capital Sana'a said that senior Houthi officials are involved in supporting this market. The following report has more details.
The pharmacy profession in Houthi-controlled areas is becoming more widespread, with medicines sold in grocery stores alongside food and detergents. Common medicines such as tranquilizers, sexual stimulants, and anti-anxiety and depression medications are being circulated without supervision or awareness of their dangers. The medical community in Sana'a mocks the Houthis, who control the health and higher education sector, while waging a war on children's vaccines and deliberately turning a blind eye to tampering in the drug market. This comes weeks after it was discovered that 21 other children, cancer patients at Kuwait University's hospital, were suffering from serious symptoms similar to those afflicted 21 other children a year ago, 11 of whom died due to a dose of contaminated medicine. Pharmacists in Sana'a disavow participation in the promotion of counterfeit medicines, although some admit of being aware of the sale of expired ones. They argue that expired medications may be among the most dangerous poisons and lead to many disorders and diseases. Medical and pharmacy sources accuse the Houthi group of causing the spread of smuggled, counterfeit and expired medicines. The Houthi group in Yemen is allegedly responsible for drug smuggling due to failure of health sector to provide life-saving medicines. Many medications are taken without prescriptions, leading to serious health risks and addiction. The Supreme Pharmaceutical Authority, controlled by the Houthis, has stopped supervising the medicine market and has become an entity run by Houthi supervisors to collect taxes. Pharmacists in Sana'a express anger at the supervisory authority's tasks, which are limited to blackmail pharmacists who fail to pay taxes.
In Taz, local authority officials held a meeting to discuss technical reports on slums and violations. The meeting focused on a number of technical reports submitted by the Public Works Office and the directorates, which included attacks and violations. The meeting stressed the necessity of protecting state lands and endowments in the governorate, committing to licenses within the framework. Residential apartment rents in Aden witnessed an unprecedented rise amid the inaction of the concerned authorities to stop such a rise. Citizens in the temporary capital Aden complained about apartment owners raising rents in hard currency during the past 6 years. Such a rise has caused heavy suffering to the people with limited income, displaced employees, and those displaced from the Houthi-controlled areas. The Yemen Football Association appointed a new technical staff to lead the national junior team. According to the new appointment, the staff will be led by the young coach Samer Fadl and Amin Saoud, the coach of the goalkeepers. The first task for the new technical staff will be to prepare the team for the West Asian Junior Championship to be held soon. Here is a reminder of the main headlines. Houthi landmine explodes in Hodeidah and kills 3 civilians from one family. United States sends seized Iranian weapons meant for the Houthis to Ukraine. On World Teachers' Day, educators in Yemen struggle to survive due to the conflict. This is the end of the news. It was Roshan Fouad. Thank you for watching.